Doing a show today. This is the Above It All program for today, 1868. Hello, and welcome. This is the Above It All show, 1868. The value of these programs are, but I appreciate you watching the programs. And we're going to be talking about some news today. Going to be talking about some politics, political happenings. Does anyone here like politics? Anybody? Politics. This is a news show. It's turning more into a philosophy program than news. But news is the vehicle. News is the cheese, and generalized philosophy is the medication. Exhibit A. A man dies while Milwaukee officers drive him to mental health clinic, police say. A man dies while the cops are driving him to a mental health clinic, according to the cops. Now, I've been doing a news show for many years now, about as long as the coronavirus pandemic has been going on. We're currently in year 5 of the COVID pandemic, and I started my show about a month or two after the first reported case of that, so that's cool. And, it doesn't take a genius like myself, of course, who talks about stupid garbage on a webcam, to know that there's something weird about this kind of headline. I'm just going to, I want you to really think about this for a moment here. This is on a website, OregonLive.com. This is ostensibly a news website. And they wrote the headline, check this out, "Man dies while Milwaukee officers drive him to mental health clinic, police say." In the year 2023, soon to be 2024, there are human beings, ostensibly with a brain, who are in positions of power in the media, and they write headlines like, "Man dies while Milwaukee officers drive him to mental health clinic, police say." Now, I'll scroll down in a minute here. Slow your ropes. Is that a phrase? Slow your ropes? Or is it hold your ropes? I don't know. But just think about it. Man dies. Spontaneous combustion, perhaps? Was it suicide? As we know, people love to kill themselves when trapped in the presence of police, right? And there's only cops and a dead person, but the police have never, they've never actually killed anybody. It's always like spontaneous combustion, heart attack, stroke, suicide. They bit down on a cyanide. Oh, don't forget fentanyl. They maybe poisoned themselves with fentanyl. I'm just going to read this again for you. I really need you to think about the world here. I want you to just think about, close your eyes. Just think about the world, the universe as you know it, how human society functions. Man dies while Milwaukee officers drive him to mental health clinic, police say. All right, let's scroll down. A man died on Tuesday while police were transporting him after he had refused to leave a hospital emergency room, Milwaukee police said. Why did he refuse to leave the hospital emergency room? Well, that's not relevant information. You don't need to know why. You don't even need to know what the doctors or nurses thought of this situation, though doctors and nurses are cucks to police. Oftentimes, they'll just do what police say. A lot of the times, doctors and nurses will even call the cops on you. Like therapists and psychiatrists, if you tell them you're a little too depressed, they will literally send you to jail, also known as a mandatory psychiatric hold for 3 to 7 to 14 to 30 days. If you're slightly too depressed and honest with a therapist, they can just pull out the send to jail for free card. Unconstitutionally, I should add. You didn't commit a crime. Why are you enslaved? But that's a whole different story here. The man, who has not been publicly identified, I wonder why, had been discharged from the ER and offered a ride to a shelter, but he would not leave the hospital, according to officials. Milwaukee police officers arrived, determined the man was unable to care for himself, and so placed him on peace officer hold. The man... Okay. So obviously we got a dead guy here, so he can't really talk about his experience after the fact. But, like, what goes into the determination process here? The Milwaukee police officers arrived and determined the man was unable to care for himself. I also have a question. Isn't that what hospitals are for? Like, if you get your leg blown off by, like, a shotgun shell, you would probably also be unable to care for yourself, you know? Like, isn't that what hospitals were invented for? Isn't that, like, the entire purpose of them? Actually, no, it's just a money laundering scam, at least in America. That's really all hospitals are. That's a different subject. The officers found that the man had arrest warrants in Multnomah and Clackamas counties, but because of his condition decided he should not be taken to jail. They were driving the man to the Unity Center for Behavioral Health in Portland when he lapsed into unconsciousness, police said. I love that they feel the need to punctuate every sentence with police said, as if that's like, well, I mean, the police said it must be true. Officers and medical first responders performed life-saving measures, but the man died. The Portland Police Bureau Major Crimes Team is investigating the death. So if you want to know what I think cops in this country typically have body cams, and if they're innocent, they should release the footage. That's what I think. But also, think of it this way. They found out someone had an arrest warrant. They tried to arrest him and bring him to jail. He died, probably because cops beat the shit out of him. You know, you've seen the videos of what police do to people. They kick the shit out of you. They fucking bash your skull into the pavement. You know what cops do. They shoot you if they really want to. Keep in mind, we have no facts. The only fact here that we have is someone died in police custody. That's it. That's the only fact we have. Now, theoretically, cops have dash cams, body cams, radios, recording equipment that they could use to exonerate themselves. And, you know, they never really seem to do that, right? But hey, okay. So what I think is they were trying to take him to jail. They beat him a little too hard. He died. Now, what does the article say? He lapsed into unconsciousness. Now, I don't know if people out there understand what mental illness is, but, like, I have never heard of someone who was, like, so mentally ill that they just lapsed into unconsciousness and died. I've never heard of that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never heard of that shit. And that's the thing, like, if you believe in cops, like, if you believe what they have to say, you are probably someone who believes in God. You probably believe in Jesus or some other stupid fucking long debunked scam artist shit. Right, but you really have to suspend your disbelief for this one here. Like, we're supposed to believe a man was so mentally ill that they just spontaneously died for no reason. Like, they were at a hospital. Right? Like, so the idea that they were on drugs is a non-starter. They were discharged from a hospital. Like, they're not on meth. They're not on crack. They're not on fentanyl. Well, they might have been at the hospital. We know, you know. How does someone get discharged from a hospital and then just magically drop dead? Like, like, unless the hospital discharged them too early. And then in that case, it's medical malpractice, right? That's the only possibility here, is that either there's two possibilities. The police beat the shit out of him and he died. Murder, also known as. Or doctors and nurses didn't do their jobs and didn't actually solve the crisis, also known as medical malpractice, also known as murder. But the way it's written, we're supposed to just believe that they were bringing him to some mental health center because they were so great. They were like, oh, let's not execute the arrest warrants. Let's just send him to some rehab clinic. And then he just magically died. Wow, isn't that a darn shame? Now, again, what I think, they tried to arrest him. He probably didn't want to be arrested. He may have been sick to some degree. Cops beat the fucking shit out of him, killed him, probably killed him on the pavement, then made up a story about how they're great guys and that they were bringing him to some behavioral health clinic. Like, if you go look on these guys' search history, I guarantee you, right, the time of death, right, like, if you were to do an autopsy and find out exactly when this guy died and then compare and juxtapose that to their search history, they would have been searching for some kind of scapegoat, like, post hoc excuse, like, I guarantee it. So they found this Unity Center for Behavioral Health or whatever. I guarantee you that they pulled this name out of a Google search bar or some shit after they, like, were staring down at a dead corpse. And then, media's job is to just, like, say what the cop said uncritically. That's what the media's job is. Because media is, they love to tell you truth to power, man. Uncovering things, man. We're like documenting the world, man. We're like historians, bro. Officers and medical first responders performed life-saving measures, but the man died. What does that mean? But the man died. Like, did he die after first responders tried to save him and then he died after they arrived? Was he already dead? And then they just, like, pretended to do that bullshit and then go like, well, it didn't work. He's been dead for 40 minutes. And also he's got like 5 bullet holes. Like, the Portland Police Bureau's major crimes team is investigating the death. Well, that makes me happy. I'm sure that the Portland Police Bureau, I'm sure that they are going to do a good job figuring out what happened here. But I need you to really just, like, this is indicative of just the whole goddamn thing that we're dealing with here and on planet fucking Earth. Is that humans, particularly Americans, now again, I live in America, so that's my area of expertise. That's the brand of dumb that I study most frequently. Where a sizable chunk, like 40, 50, maybe even 60% of Americans would read something like this and believe it and take it at face value. Like, yes, there were great cops doing a great job, and then he was so mentally ill that he just died. Because that's like a thing that happens, I guess. Like, he had anxiety and it killed him. Or he had schizophrenia and he just died. He just spontaneously... You ever get so depressed Like, damn, my life sucks. You just like sit there, you know, and you're just thinking about how life sucks, and then you just go like, pfft. Does that ever happen to you? You ever have like fucking some hallucination, you're going through psychosis, and then you just go like, pfft. Has that ever happened? I don't think so. Like, if he had like a heart attack, wouldn't they have said that? If he had a stroke, wouldn't they have said that? Why did they just say he died? Like, he just died. What the fuck, man? But hey, that's how it goes. So anyway, don't believe everything you read, folks. Moral of the story: holy cock and balls. Holy cock and balls, folks. Holy cock and balls. So I'm about to make my audience extremely happy by once again talking about the elephant in the room. But check this out. Now, my sincerely held belief is that 9 out of 10 self-proclaimed left-wingers you find in person, at organizations, at protests, at demonstrations, online, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, all these social media websites. Let's throw Facebook in there. Why not? Are they still called Facebook? I don't know. 9 out of 10 of them are just as dumb as Republicans when it comes to propaganda and being propagandized. They just have they just essentially lucked into a seemingly more accurate source of information. And of course, what am I talking about? I'm talking about COVID-19. When you talk about COVID in any left-wing organization, if you talk about COVID at a protest, if you talk about COVID in any left-wing stream chat or any left-wing YouTube comment section or a Discord server or any social media website, your average leftist turns into Donald Trump. But not just Donald Trump, but like capital X, lowercase x, super Nazi Trump fan 420, lowercase x, tilde, capital X. Like, they turn into the biggest Nazi Trump fan in the world. Why? Because they're fucking stupid. They're just fucking stupid. And most leftists only have left-leaning politics because they accidentally lead their way into having a reasonable news source on most things. That's pretty much it. Most leftists don't genuinely arrive at political positions from introspection, from reading, and then acknowledging and comprehending the words on the page, and then thinking about that in their own kind of world. They just read the words on the page and go like, I read it in a book, it must be true. Someone on the internet told me it must be true. That's your average leftist. I would say 9 out of 10 leftists are as dumb, fundamentally, as Republicans. It's just that, again, Republicans are sheep and they just absorb anything the internet tells them, anything Donald Trump tells them, anything Alex Jones tells them. Leftists are the same kind of person, except instead of Donald Trump, it's just insert some other like Twitch streamer or some like author or something that wrote a bunch of shitty books. And COVID is the great issue that I use to talk about that. So I got this article here from The Hill. Now, this is an opinion piece, but I want to read this one because, once again, we're in year 5 of an airborne pandemic, a disease that is about as destructive on the immune system from research that we know as HIV. Now, again, so far, HIV seems to be more accelerated in the immune response decline. But, again, we're only in year 5 of the COVID pandemic. And really, we're only in like year 2 of the let's pretend the pandemic ended by magic part of the pandemic. But let's read this here, because this is what left-wingers believe. Now, of course, this is written by a Republican on a Republican website, billionaire neo-Nazi website. And when I say that, I just, all Republicans are neo-Nazis, and a Republican buying a newspaper has one purpose, is to disseminate neo-Nazi propaganda to audiences that otherwise wouldn't be amenable to that. But most are, again, 9 out of 10 self-proclaimed left-wingers believe in eugenics. If you're immunocompromised, you deserve to die. If you're old, you deserve to die. If you have some sort of disability, you deserve to die. That's 9 out of 10 leftists believe that. That's why they actively spread COVID and pretend that it disappeared. But let's read this article here. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Robert Califf recently took to Twitter to mourn the catastrophic decline in U.S. life expectancy. But his post, which hit on smoking, diet, chronic illness, and healthcare, ignored the obvious. People are dying in abnormally high numbers even now and long since COVID-19 waned. Yet public health agencies and medical societies are silent. Now, again, 9 out of 10 self-proclaimed leftists believe that this is a fact. COVID-19 waned. Then why is everyone dying? Now, I have a lot of problems with the CDC, but this is the CDC's wastewater charts here. And if you look at the 1-year chart, we are pretty much at the same position we were last winter. But I thought COVID was over. So we're at the same position we were a year ago, according to the CDC. Now, again, the CDC has been one of the architects of covering up COVID data. So I personally believe these numbers are an undercount. That's my personal belief. I've done segments as to why I believe that. I'm not going to reiterate all of that here. But according to the CDC, which official stance is COVID ended a long time ago, Jack, their numbers are we're in the same position as last winter. This is the 1-year chart. But COVID's over. It's gone. Rip. See ya. But everyone's still dying. Excess death is still on the rise. Life expectancy is still fucking catastrophic. The healthcare industry is still on the verge of collapse. But Joe Biden told you that COVID was over, Jack. So therefore, don't believe your lying eyes. Believe Joe Biden. Yeah, all the excess death statistics, they're wrong. The wastewater analyses, it's all wrong. All the positive test results, wrong, wrong, wrong. Every single piece of scientific research that says that COVID is here still and extremely dangerous and mutating into being even more dangerous, all of it's wrong. In the same way that the globe isn't warming, greenhouse gas effect, what? What are you, fucking stupid? You believe that burning fossil fuels makes the globe hotter? What are you, fucking stupid? Obviously, all the science is wrong. Obviously. Duh. You gotta go to my fucking, my meetup. You gotta go to my concert. You gotta go to my fucking live show. You gotta go to my stand-up show. You gotta go to restaurants. You gotta go celebrate your birthday at fucking Applebee's. You gotta go to these large unmasked protests, right? Because climate change isn't happening. The climate's not changing. Gravity doesn't exist. God is in the sky and smiling. The earth doesn't revolve around the sun. The sun revolves around earth. What are you, fucking stupid? You believe in science? That's what the government wants you to believe. And most people are so fucking stupid that they go like, yeah, woohoo, infect me more, daddy. Because they're fucking dumb. But let's see here. How does this fucking cocksucker motherfucker explain why so many people are sick, why everyone's coughing, why everyone's dying, why everyone can't remember anything, why test scores in children are going, while the IQ across every demographic is going, why people are dying younger, why people are getting heart attacks in their 20s. Let's see why this guy is going, where this guy is going. Life insurers have been consistently, this is back to the article here, just to be clear to the audio listeners. Life insurers have been consistently sounding the alarm over these unexpected or excess deaths, which claimed 158,000 more Americans in the first 9 months of 23 than the same period in 2019. That exceeds America's combined losses from every war since Vietnam. Congress should urgently work with insurance experts to investigate this troubling trend. Yeah, they should work with insurance experts. Yeah. Congress needs to bring in the life insurance companies to figure out what's going on. Not doctors. Not scientists. Not virologists. Not fucking epidemiologists. No, let's bring the life insurance guy. But again, 9 out of 10 leftists are like, they would be like, rock on, brother. COVID's over, y'all. That's what they believe. Because they're all fucking dumb. With the worst of COVID behind us, sources cited, insert crack pipe here, annual deaths for all causes should be back to pre-pandemic levels. That's the thing. Like, wouldn't Republicans, like, benefit in some way politically from pointing out the obvious fact that Joe Biden lied about COVID being over? But that's the thing. Republicans love eugenics and neo-Nazism so much that, like, they have to actually march in lockstep with Joe Biden. Think about that. Now, this is a fun little game I've been playing with Republicans online. Whenever you see a Republican talk about COVID, just call them a Joe Biden voter. Now, again, I've had a lot of fun with this because they get really triggered. They will say everything Joe Biden says because Joe Biden says everything Donald Trump says. And then they just go like, everything Joe Biden says is a lie. Except for COVID. He's telling the truth on COVID. Really? Interesting. Really? He's a communist. He's evil. He's Satan incarnate. God is real, and God has a plan for us and all that. And fucking the devil and Lucifer did like the fusion dance, or maybe they're the same person. I don't fucking know. Like Piccolo or some shit. And then that's Joe Biden, who lies all the time. He's a super liar. Except when it comes to COVID, he's telling the absolute truth. And then leftists are like, oh, Joe Biden's a super liar. He's a propagandist. He has none of our best interests at heart. But on COVID, he's rock solid. Right on, brother. But okay, let's keep going. Like, I mean, like, think about it. Like, engage in critical thinking. Chief propagandist of the country said COVID is over, Jack. All the data and science says otherwise. And you're sitting here saying, well, all the science points in one direction, but Joe Biden did say Jack. So who do I trust more? The science, 100% of medical research, reports, studies, all that kind of stuff, medical reports. Joe Biden calling me Jack. What's more trustworthy here? Or even lower, because of the loss of so many sick and infirm Americans. So it's like, yeah, didn't all the disabled people die already? Didn't the final solution already happen? Didn't we get rid of all the grandmas? Like, that's literally what this guy is saying. Instead, the death toll remains alarming, disturbing, and deserving of urgent attention, according to insurance industry articles. I love how this guy is like, the insurance industry, the beacon of truth in the world. And again, most leftists agree with this. This is the official stance of big left-wing news shows like the Majority Report. This is their stance. COVID is over. There's no such thing as disease. There's no such thing as respiratory viruses. COVID has no way of infecting your organs. That's impossible. Come to my convention. Come see me and I'll sign your fucking books or whatever. That's the official stance of the most large, prominent left-wing YouTube show, The Majority Report. They are fully in COVID denial mode. And you could talk about other left-wing news shows, but The Majority Report's the biggest one, so I think that this is their biggest L, and I know most of my audience watches them as well, so. But isn't that weird though? Like, isn't that strange? Like, you ever think about, like, now again, think about the critical thinking that I was describing during the cop story I did earlier. Like, isn't it obvious that the guy was murdered by the cops? Like, you're expecting me to believe that that guy was so mentally ill that he just, like, killed himself while in handcuffs? Like, this guy was, like, in the back of the car and was like, ugh. Like, that's what we're supposed to believe. Right? But, like, if you ask the Majority Report or any other left-wing news show about that, they'd be like, oh, obviously the cops killed him. But look at this one. COVID's over, and yet everyone's still dying, everyone's still sick, everyone's still coughing, everyone's still fucking dying. Like, but COVID's over. It's almost like, now I'm not saying it's like this, I'm saying it's almost like COVID didn't go anywhere. And in fact, it's still here. And in fact, people pretending it's gone is making it rise even quicker. And the people that died 4 years ago, 3 years ago, the people that didn't die got infected and then became the new disabled population. So disabled populations had been final solutioned by capitalism in 2020 and in 2021. And everyone else who wasn't disabled but got infected anyway became the new disabled population, who is now being final solutioned in 2023 and in going into 2024. And then the current non-disabled population is right now going to get infected over and over and over again, because you're all going to parties, you're all going to concerts, you're all going to conventions, you're all going to Thanksgiving and Christmas with your stupid fucking family members. And then it's almost like in 2026 and 2027, then you're going to be the new disabled population, and then you're going to get final solutioned. That's what it seems like. I'm not saying it's like that. It's not like 100% of the medical science agrees with me. It's not like 100% of the research into COVID and the damage it does to your body agrees with me. No. I trust Joe Biden before I trust any scientist. Joe Biden, obviously. Duh. You didn't know that Joe Biden was a career scientist before becoming president? He was like, he was like Albert Einstein's like protege. You didn't know that? How could you not know that? Joe Biden's a super scientist. It's like a super saiyan, but with scientists. That's how smart he is. Well, let's keep going. Actuarial reports used by insurers to inform decisions show deaths occurring disproportionately among young working-age people. The virus that destroys your fucking immune system, that destroys your fucking heart, that destroys your liver, destroys your gut, destroys your fucking lungs. It's almost like it didn't magically disappear. It's almost like that. It's almost like it's still destroying people's entire bodies, and then they're dying. It's almost like that. All the data says that. Again, all the data, Joe Biden. Yikes. I mean, it's really up in the air. Nonetheless, America's chief health manager for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention opted in September to archive its excess death webpage with a note saying these data sets will no longer be updated. So, the government, the same government that told you to get infected with COVID 19 million times a year because it's just the flu, man. It's just the flu, man. That same government is now covering up excess death information, and yet you still trust them. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that like just a little curious? Like, don't you ever think, wait a minute here? Doesn't all of this information cause you to just like think about the world for just a fucking second? Just a fucking little second here. Money, of course, is a motivating issue for insurers. In 2020, death claims took their biggest one-year leap since the 1918 influenza scourge, which, by the way, we're still dealing with. The flu is literally just the 1918 pandemic, year 107 or whatever we're on. That's it. They did the same thing 100 years ago. They declared victory without doing anything to actually eradicate the virus, and then just normalized tens of thousands of people a year getting sick and dying. And that's flu season. COVID, by the way, is like 10 times the death toll annually. And that's, by the way, with undercounting and underreporting metrics. So isn't that interesting? I mean, it's just weird. It's weird here. It's very strange. After hitting 100 billion in 2021, claims slowed in 2022 but are still above 2019. Indemnity experts are urging the adoption of an early warning program to detect looming health problems among people with life insurance to keep them alive. So life insurance companies want to keep people alive. They're in the wrong game here. They're in the wrong game. I gotta tell you, if you are in a stock for a life insurance company, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, you're in the wrong game here. Like, you need to be moving your money to the healthcare industry. Because life insurance, the scam is that they accept payments from people that aren't dying for an extended period of time so that they can make a profit. That's the scam, right? So if more and more people are dying, you want to move your money to the industry that's propping them up with drugs and prescription medications and all these epic new vaccines that cost $250, right? That's what you want to be putting your money into. So I'm just a little stock tip for you. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way. Do not accept my advice. I am an idiot. I lost a lot of money on the stock market myself. Do not listen to me. I actually make a lot of money on the stock market with it. Which one is true? You don't know. Unlike in the pandemic's early phase, these deaths are not primarily among the old. By the way, I just want to say, I saw a report, one of the many COVID reports that has said that one COVID infection ages your organs in your body by about 5 to 10 years. On the lower end, it was about 5 years. On the higher end, it was about like 13 years. Which means you could be 22 and have the liver of a 38-year-old alcoholic. If you get COVID a couple more times. Isn't that interesting? A little strange. For people 65 and older, deaths in the second quarter of 2023 were 6% below the pre-pandemic norm. According to a new report from the Society of Actuaries, mortality was 26% higher among insured 35 to 44-year-olds and 19% higher for 25 to 34-year-olds, continuing a death spike that peaked in the third quarter of 21 at a staggering 101% and 79% above normal, respectively. Quote, COVID-19 claims do not fully explain the increase in incurred claim incidents, the society said. COVID-19 deaths dropped 84% from the first three quarters of 21 to the same period in 23. Now, they dropped 84% because half the states stopped reporting them. That's why they dropped. Like, they didn't drop because all the reporting metrics were the same and then COVID disappeared. They dropped because Republicans in red states were like, fuck this shit, and they stopped reporting, or they changed the guidelines so that you don't have to report deaths as often. Like, it's crazy to me that people are still believing in this fairy tale. It really is. It's insane to me. To some extent, we know what is killing the young with an actuarial analysis of government data showing mortality increases in liver, kidney, and cardiovascular diseases. You know, the main organs that the COVID-19 virus attacks. Just turns out, when you get a disease that attacks your organs are unhealthy. Whoa! Cause and effect, bro! That's like fucking first grade, man. You just graduated first grade out there, dear viewer. He just graduated first motherfucking grade. Cause and effect. Now you know what that is. When you get the organ-destroying virus, your organs get destroyed. Oh! Who would have fucking seen that one coming? Drug overdoses also soared nationwide, but not primarily in young working class. You can read the rest of this. I think I've made my point here. Oh, they're a doctor. Oh, great. Doctor. Like, I need people to really think about this, because, like, I'm not saying this because I have any delusions that I'm going to change the world here. I'm saying this kind of stuff, one, because I love being correct, and I love saying I told you so. That's probably the most, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm just being honest with you. I love being right. I love being right, and I love making fun of people that didn't believe me, who come around later on. So that's number one. That's the number one reason why I do COVID segments. Number two, I care about my audience. I care about my audience. I do. I genuinely want you to not get infected with the virus over and over again and die. I know it might seem like I'm like, you know, a little bit of a callous freak sometimes, and that could be true maybe. But like the idea that someone could listen to my show and then believe that, like, let's imagine I'm the Majority Report and I'm telling people to come to my convention and I'm telling people to come to my live show, right? And then then they got COVID and died 6 months later. I'm telling you this, I would not be able to live with that. Right? And I don't want to say anything more, but the idea that someone would listen to my show and get killed because of what I told them is such a scary concept to me. Just for my own self-preservation, I would not be able to survive with that information. If you're a Majority Report podcaster, you get to make 9,000 videos about how Jimmy Dore is killing people, then say the same thing Jimmy Dore says, and somehow it's okay. I don't know about that cognitive dissonance. And that kind of thing, it offends me. It really does offend me, because people, without trying to offend people too much that may watch my show, people come to political streamers because they want to be educated. Now, I know, they should be reading books, they should be watching documentaries, they should be, you know, doing other kinds of stuff that's more tangible and more relatively accurate, more broad, more all-encompassing. But, you know, it's 2023. Most people, they would rather put on a podcast and become educated based on, fun, wacky personalities that go like, whoa, and do funny voices. I get it. And so we live in that world, and I know I have an audience that lives in that world. And I will be honest with you, like before this year, I did get a lot of my news from political pundits. I did. Now, again, I would also do my own independent research and study because I'm also doing this show as well. But I understand that it's easier to just put on a video of a funny person doing wacky voices and, you know, whatever, and educating you in that way than it is to watch like a documentary that's like really dry or something. I understand that. I get it. Not everyone likes learning for the sake of learning. I do. I'm weird. Okay. I understand that. And so to me, the idea that there's an entire industrial complex on the internet of people who claim to be left-wing talking about, oh, you see what's going on in Palestine, man? It's like totally genocide, man. It is genocide, not to downplay that. But again, think about it. Millions and millions and millions of people being exterminated by COVID-19 because capitalistic governments force them to get infected over and over and over, versus 20,000 dead kids in Gaza. Now, again, I'm not sitting here to say um, anything at all to defend Israel. I think Israel should be destroyed. I don't think Israel has a right to exist. I think the country should just, honestly, should stop existing. I really do believe that. I think Israel is the modern day Nazi Germany. But guess what? I think that not because internet streamer number 75043 told me that. That's why most people think that, because the internet streamer told them to. I think that because I come from a fundamental place of death is bad, actually, especially when it's preventable. And even worse than that is murder. Murder is bad, actually. And so when a government is allowed to breathe in the lead in the gasoline, to breathe in the asbestos, right? To fucking eat the lead paint chips. When the government's telling you to do this, I consider that to be murder. So when the government tells you to get infected with a deadly virus over and over and over again, and then everyone around you starts dying, I consider that to be murder. And I also consider it to be murder when a prominent left-wing news show like the Majority Report tells its audience, come to this convention and come see me. Hi guys, we're doing a convention in the middle of winter. I consider that to be adjacent to murder. Now, am I going to say that Netanyahu and random internet streamers are equivalent in their influence in destruction? No, I'm not going to say that. But what I'm saying is it's all in the same kind of, it's the cult. It's like a Jim Jones type situation. You have a cult. The cult of return to normal. At all costs, we have to go back to 2019. But unless you invent a time machine, you cannot do that. It's 2023. When you leave the house, you wear a fucking respirator. It is the year 2020. Living in Chernobyl, okay, without respirators, without hazmat suits, just living their lives. That's not happening. Why? Because you'll fucking die from radiation. Right? Right? It's not 1873 before nuclear fucking explosions started happening and everyone living in Chernobyl was having a great fucking time. Okay? Time is linear. Unless you're talking about the movie Tenet. Great movie. Time flows in one motherfucking direction. Okay? If it was 2019, maybe it would be reasonable to leave the house without a mask on or a respirator. It is not 2019. Time machines, as of this moment, do not exist. It is 2023. So when you leave the house without a respirator, you're the same motherfucker who's going to Chernobyl for a tea party. You're just a fucking moron. You're an imbecile. You're a fucking idiot. You cannot keep up with the modern times. You just can't. It's like the same kind of thing of if you're driving cars without seatbelts. Seatbelts were invented for a fucking reason. Why? Because they keep you alive in a car crash more often than not. To drive without a seatbelt is to be a fucking moron. To be a complete fucking dipshit, okay? I need to grind it into your head because no one else in this space does this shit. They're part of the cult. They drank the Kool-Aid. They're killing themselves. They're killing their children. They want to kill you, and they want to kill your children. But the worst part of it is they're so fucking stupid, and they have no actual independent critical thinking skills when it comes to this subject, that they don't even realize it. That's the public health crisis in over 100 years. This is affecting everyone on the planet. Out of sheer selfishness, shouldn't you be more concerned with your own children's health and safety than what's going on in Gaza? Shouldn't you? But the average leftist cares more about kids in Gaza than their kids. They don't mind sending their kids to COVID factories called school. Why? Because the government told them to. Joe Biden would never lie to me about my health care. No way. The guy who said he would veto Medicare for all, there's no way he would ever lie to me about personal health and safety. There's no way. I just can't. I really can't. I've been talking about this every week for months, and I cannot figure out why this world is so fucking stupid and why people that claim to be left-wing are out there promoting the final solution for disabled people. Because that's what we're going through. This is the final solution for disabled people. But, as I explained earlier, the healthy people of 2019 are now the disabled people of 2023. If you got infected with COVID over and over and over again, you are now a disabled person. And we're just shifting into a new final solution. Every couple years, we're going to have new demographic shifts and different people are going to be dying. But it's going to be the same mechanism. Disabled, sick, elderly people die. Healthy, younger, abled people become disabled. Then the next cycle, until there is no healthy control population, until everyone is fucking ill and sick and dependent upon industry and government. If you need a certain medication to live, you are more dependent upon the institution that gives you that medication. So, wouldn't a government that wants to quell rebellion, wouldn't they have a vested interest in keeping you sick and disabled so that you can't go against the government, so that you cannot protest effectively? Isn't that their desired outcome? But again, I say this from a place of concern. I want people that watch my program for whatever reason, I want them to be careful. In the same way that if it's fucking freezing cold outside, right? I don't want you to go outside and swim in a fucking swimming pool and then go for a walk around the neighborhood in your goddamn fucking bathing suit while it's like -4 outside. Why? Because you'll die. You will die. You will fucking die. For the same reason I don't want you to walk outside during a plague without a respirator. It's that fucking simple. This is not complicated, okay? This is not complex. It's not even nuanced. This is a very cut and dry thing. 100% of the science says COVID is extremely dangerous. 100% of the science says the climate is changing as a result of fossil fuels. And yet, most people, even self-proclaimed leftists, are believing in the Alex Jones conspiracies, in the Donald Trump conspiracies, in the Joe Biden conspiracies. And I'm sorry, man. The blood is not on my hands. It's not. I'm clean. I'm clean. I'm serene. Okay? People are going to be looking back and saying, how did we let people get infected over and over and over and over and over again to go see Taylor Swift? And I'm going to be saying, didn't you watch Above It All, episode 1868? I was right there telling you to fucking, think critically for once in your goddamn life. And again, I'm not saying you have to stay at home all the time. Just get a fucking respirator. You can go grocery shopping wearing a P100 respirator. You can probably even have fun at a concert with a P100 respirator. The idea that you would go to Chernobyl in the year 2023 and just hang out and have a tea party, go on vacation, It's just, I don't know. To me, it's just ludicrous. It really is. I mean, I don't know. Is Chernobyl still that irradiated? I know that the radiation has gone down over time, but still, that's my analogy. And also, if you believe COVID is magic, explain why you believe that. I really do. I want you to tell me why all the medical research is wrong. I would love to know why every scientific report on the mutations of COVID and how it affects the body is wrong. I would love for you to tell me that. Because I've asked people that question. All the science is wrong? And they say, yeah, and I can't explain why. Joe Biden 2024. So anyway, think about that one for you. I had a couple other things I was going to talk about. Fuck it, let's talk about presidential polling. Let's give you some candy and popcorn for the end of this show. A year out, RFK Jr.'s candidacy hurts Biden and Trump equally in swing states. So this is a poll that came out. People are talking about this one. This is I think it's a November poll. But I also haven't been talking about polling too much. So, I mean, the numbers aren't really moving all that much here. But first I want to give a shout out to Cornel West for being such a fucking loser that he can't even get like a number to appear. Like RFK Jr. is a loser, but look, 11. You get a number. Your bar is big enough to hold a number. Look at Cornel West. Look at him. Can't even have a number. Jesus Christ. So shout out to Cornel West for burning his entire legacy over nothing. But, you know, I am extremely concerned about this next election. The way I see it, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are both genocidal maniacs. Now, I think you would have to be a complete fucked up idiot to think that Joe Biden is more of a genocidal freak than Donald Trump. You really would have to be a complete fucking numbnuts cocksucker to think that Trump is better than Biden. You would have to be. You would have to have no brain to believe something so fucking stupid. So I am very afraid of what's going on in this next election. Joe Biden is a horrible candidate. He's a horrible person. He's a horrible president. And guess what? In 2020, I told you so. I told you so. I told you Joe Biden was shit. I told everyone if Bernie doesn't win, we're fucked. And look at where we are. We're fucked. We're fucked. My exact prediction came true. But let's look at these swing states here. Arizona, 42 Biden, 46 Trump. And with the other fucking freaks in the race, 36 Biden, 40 Trump. Donald Trump's got like 1,000,006 criminal fucking charges against him for obscene crimes. And he is outpolling Joe Biden in the states that matter. Georgia, which is a swing state now, apparently. Not according to this poll. 41 Biden, 48 Trump. With the other fuckers, it's 34 Biden, 43 Trump. Michigan, which is seemingly less of a swing state nowadays. 43 to 43 without the other fuckers. 38 to 37 with the other fuckers. So in Michigan, the other fuckers actually helped Joe Biden. Nevada, you got the numbers here. I'm just going to read these. Biden's margins, -3 and -4. In North Carolina, -9 and -9. Pennsylvania, -3 and -3. Wisconsin, -1 and -2. Now, does this fucking alarm you? Does this concern you? that Donald Trump is going to become president again? I'm going to tell you this right now. I think the chances of Donald Trump winning in 2024 are higher than the chances were in 2016 and in 2020. I think Donald Trump's weakest election was 2020. That's what I think. I really do. And I don't want to think that. I would prefer not to think that. Now, a lot of people say the polls are not to be trusted. And I typically agree with that. But the problem here is that we don't live in a democracy. We live in some fucked up aristocracy bullshit where like fucking 5 states decide the results of every election. And those 5 states have a bunch of cheaters in office that constantly rig the process. So, is it possible that in a democracy, if you were to poll and do elections, the Democrats would be winning and that these kinds of polls are incorrect? That's possible, but we don't live in that world. We don't live in a democracy. This country has never been a democracy. Some people call the United States a flawed democracy. I wish we lived in a flawed democracy. That would be a significant upgrade. So, I really don't know, man. I really don't know. In 2020, after Bernie got curb stomped in the most embarrassing way imaginable, and Joe Biden became the nominee, I maintained that I was 99% sure that Joe Biden would beat Donald Trump. Pretty much April of 2020 all the way through the election. You can go back and watch my videos. I guaranteed you that Donald Trump would lose. I was extremely positive, and I was correct. Not this time. I am not positive this time around. I am scared as a motherfucker. I really am. Because the best possible outcome of this election is business as usual. The best possible outcome of this election: genocide architect versus genocide architect / expansionist. So, who would you rather have? Someone who's the architect of all the genocides, or someone who wants to do even more genocides? I know, the moral quandary of our lifetimes. Hitler or 99% Hitler? I mean, if you got a gun to my head, there's an obvious choice there. But either way, is this the best we got? I took a nap yesterday, and I forgot to turn the alarm off. Is this the best we got, really? Is 99% Hitler really the best we got? Now, I know some people are going to be triggered in the... He's not actually 99% Hitler. He's actually more like 86% Hitler, and I think it's totally unfair that you would say he's 99% Hitler. Like, come on, man. And I know there's some other fuckers that are like, well, actually, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are equally Hitler. And I gotta say, both of those audiences, you're fucking stupid. You're so goddamn dumb. You're so fucking stupid. Okay? So that's my response to those. Man, we're fucked. We are fucked. Electoralism is fucked. Activism is fucked. Cultural activism is fucked. We are fucked. And I fundamentally believe that the core reason why we're in this mess is that Americans are fucking stupid. Now, we can cry our eyes out. Oh, it's not Americans' fault. It's the education system that made them stupid, so it's really the government's fault. People always say that as a way to, like, excuse the fact that Americans are fucking dumb. The fact that people have kids during a global pandemic and send them to school. Like, if you have a child, shouldn't you feel compelled to ensure your child's safety? The idea that anyone would say, I trust the government to take care of my child, is ludicrous. Ludicrous. That is insane. You belong in a straight jacket. You are fucked up in the head. That is child abuse. To bring a child into the world during an airborne pandemic, like one we've never seen before, and say, well, I trust Joe Biden and I trust Donald Trump. They're going to keep my kids safe. God. Sometimes I wish I could be that dumb. I really do. It's like being that dumb. Honestly, I feel like you'd have a lot more fun. I really do. Just to be a stupid little fuck walking around the world, never thinking about anything. What does the government tell me? All right, yes. What do celebrities tell me? I will do that. Like, now again, I say yes, it is a problem that the government makes people stupid. The entire scholastic system in the United States is designed to make you stupid. To teach you just enough things for you to be able to follow directions on a map to get to work so that you can be a little cog in the machine and so that you can drive on over to Wendy's and get your 15th Happy Meal. So they need to teach you a little bit in order to keep you as a good consumer. But they will destroy your ability to think critically. They will destroy your ability to be an individual. They will destroy your ability to criticize those in authority. And that's the purpose. But I also ask you, because this is something, and this is not even a rhetorical question. This is just a genuine question. For me, I've always had a yearning for knowledge. I enjoy learning. And there are periods in my life where I learn more, and then I take breaks, and then, I study, and then I stop studying. The idea that we just study from age 5 to 18 or age 5 to 22 or whatever, college or whatever, and then never study or learn anything ever again, that's ridiculous. I go through periods where I'm trying to learn something every day. Sometimes I go through periods where I haven't learned anything in a couple months and I'm just kind of coasting and, getting high all day and fucking listening to music and playing video games. I'm just telling you, those are my cycles. But the idea that the average person just doesn't want to learn anything about the world, that's insane to me. Like that the average person graduates high school and says, I will never read a book for the rest of my life. The average person will say, I don't want to watch documentaries. They're boring. Yes, the government is bad. Yes, they've been attacking our human spirit as long as we can write history books. But I'm a little embarrassed for my fellow humans that it was that easy. I really am. I'm a little embarrassed on behalf of my fellow humans. You could even call it, I cringe at the idea that most people are okay with this. Most people are okay to just pass this down to their next generation. Most people are okay having children and indoctrinating the children into the fucking Kool-Aid cult. That's the part that really haunts me. The government is our enemy. The government will always be our enemy. But the fact that most Americans just roll over and take it, that keeps me up at night. It really does. It really does. It really, really does. I don't know. But anyway, that's my show. Another depression show for y'all. I've gotten a couple comments of people that says my shows are less funny than they used to be. And I do apologize for that. I would like to incorporate humor more into this program, but honestly, it's kind of hard to do that without doing the epic reaction stuff Let's react to Republican number 753. Let's react to podcaster number 943. Like, those are really where the humor is, and I know people enjoy that kind of shit. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. I know why. And I would like to incorporate humor into contexts that are not just that. And I'm trying. I tried this show. Did you laugh today? I don't know, maybe. If you didn't, that's fine. If you did, that's fine too. A lot of people have asked me, what have I been doing? What am I working on? Well, I'm learning music. That's something I've been working on since I stopped doing this show every day. I've had a lot more energy for more creative pursuits. I'm working on stuff like video-wise, not an above-it-all program or not a video game program, but other kinds of stuff. I'm cooking stuff up. But also, I got some other stuff. Don't want to talk about it. I don't like if I talk about something publicly before it's ready, sometimes that can cause me to burn out. I like to keep all my energy up here. But yeah, so I appreciate people sticking with me here. Once again, I will go back to doing a semi-daily show next year in 2024, especially as the election ramps up. I am developing a plan for that. And, I don't want to say anything else on that subject. So, but as far as this time period is concerned in my show's history, really, I just want to get up here and remind you all of things that are under a media blackout in my shared space. I consider myself, and other people consider me. I guess it's more important what other people consider me than what I consider myself in this instance. To be a part of a left-wing political space, of which I don't mind being a part of that. And there's a media blackout on certain topics. Everyone's agreed, drink the Kool-Aid, never talk about these things. And I don't do well in groups. You should know that. If you know anything about me, I don't do well in groups. I don't do well in any of those environments. So when everyone's doing a media blackout on certain topics, I think to myself, why? So, there you go. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to watch this show. This is not a compulsion. You definitely should not be addicted to watching my shows or anything. You should be finding other stuff to appeal to you if that's necessary for you. And I really do appreciate people for watching. I really do want people to be happy, to be healthy, to be safe in a world that does everything it can to prevent you from being that way. And I know not everyone has an easy time of it. I am very aware. But I think fundamentally, at the core of it, I resent the things that were done to me when I was a child. For example, I resent being raised in a fast food culture where advertisements for poisonous drugs are all over television, where they sell you drugs by telling you it's a Happy Meal and it comes with a free toy. Because fast food is a drug. It's more dangerous than marijuana, that's for sure. And I resent that. I resent being a child who was taught that drinking orange juice is healthy, even though orange juice is just soda without carbonation. And if I were a kid today, 30 years from now, I would resent being forced to go to the COVID factories. And I don't like seeing this kind of stuff happen to other people. I really don't. It offends me. And, I'm not telling people that they have to be perfect all the time. But our society creates addictions in our brains. Humans are extremely addictive creatures. And society is addicting us to our own downfall. And that's scary to me. I'm not saying you should never, ever, 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 ever eat fast food. If you want to have a fucking French fry on your birthday, whatever. But if you're eating French fries every day, that's a drug addiction. More serious than alcohol, in my opinion. Well, to be honest with you, I would say it's probably about as serious as alcohol, but just the warped perspective societally causes me to shift in one direction just out of an attempt of moving the Overton window in that territory. So, but yeah, this is I'm doing the show at night. It's dark out. Got my lights on, so I'm a little calmer at night. Normally I would do the show in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee, so I apologize if I'm not as energetic. Well, I don't apologize, actually, because fuck you. But yeah, fundamentally, I just want people in my audience to care more about each other and care more about themselves. I don't care if you care about me. I'm a lost cause. I'm all fucked. So care about me. Don't care about me. Whatever. I'll be fine. I can take care of myself. I don't know if I can, actually. And, this is the show that I've decided to put on at this point. We got Max the dog here saying hello. Hi. I don't know. That's all I got. So, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat some dinner. Have a good one.